Welcome to the Dental Business Journal Less Insurance Dependence Edition. This is a weekly e-journal brought directly to your inbox. To subscribe, visit dentalbusinessjournal.org. And in today's issue, we're going to explore the topic of what is your insurance write-off? And you can listen to us on a podcast such as on iTunes, Google Play, Amazon Music, or actually any of your favorite podcast tools. If you like our video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Dental Business Journal. I'm Eric Block, your host of today's edition, and let's dive in. My guest today is Naren Arulrajah.
Hey, Eric,
Naren.
I'm really looking forward to this episode, the very first episode we are doing.
Yeah, Naren, thanks so much for joining us. And this is a super important topic. And I really want to just break it down into a few questions that I want to ask you. And let's start with the most important question of what exactly is a PPO write-off?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to our conversation today with regards to what's your insurance write-off. And I think I'm glad you started with that question. The PPO write-off is the difference between your usual customary and reasonable fees versus what you get paid from the insurance company. So let's say for a particular service, your UCR fee is $1,000 and the insurance company pays you $500. So your PPO write-off is $500, which is $1,000, what is your regular fee, UCR fee, minus what they end up paying you, which is $500. So that can be a big chunk, that PPO write-off.
So what would you say is an average PPO write-off in a percentage or annual dollars?
Absolutely. With regards to percentage, we have seen now around 45 to 55%. So let's say in annual dollars, we see a practice doing, less than $1 million in collections, writing off $600,000 every single year. A practice doing $2 million is writing off $1,200,000 a year. Of course, these numbers are approximate. It depends on what percentage of your patients are PPO patients. But typically what happens is once you get into that drug called PPO plans, you get sucked into it. So most practices we see, they have 70%, 80% dependency on PPO. So the write-off on an annual basis could be 60% of what you collect, or higher. So it could be a huge amount of money that you give up every single year.
I feel like the insurance companies are the drug dealer and the drug is new patients, and dentists can get addicted to that new patient, but at what cost? A tremendous PPO write-off. How can I actually find out, what my PPO write-offs are in my office?
That's a great question. The Reducing Insurance Dependence Academy came up with a PPO write-off calculator. We'll put a link to it. You have to answer 3 questions. Your collections, what's your average write-off, typical write-off, which typically right now is around 45 to 55%. And the last question is, what percentage of your collections comes from PPO plans, meaning how much of that comes from PPO patients. Even if you don't know the exact answer, take a guesstimate because you will get a pretty accurate answers within the 3 questions you answered. And it's a good way for you to know, is this an issue for you? For example, if you only have like 10% PPO dependency, this may not be a big issue for you. But like most practices, if yours is high dependency on PPOs, this could be a huge issue for you. So knowing in real terms, in dollars, from a dollars and cents standpoint, how much you're writing off can then help you make really good business decisions. We'll put a link to it. The calculator is complimentary. It's confidential. We'll figure it out, send it back to you. So you know exactly what your PPO write-off is once you answer these 3 questions.
And you actually compare PPO write-offs and participating with PPOs is actually a marketing expense. So this is 45 to 55% costs in marketing. But I actually joined Equa, and it's about 0.5% of my revenue that goes into marketing. And we actually got 50 plus new patient calls a month. Who wants to give insurance companies 45 to 50%? So we did this a few years back to reduce PPO dependence. and we booked a marketing strategy, which I think is super important, is to have a strategy. Can you explain a little bit more about the marketing strategy and the value of it and what Equa provides?
Absolutely. Yes, we appreciate you as a client, Eric, and we love working with you and your team. So the way we were able to get you 50 plus new patients a month is from dominating Google. And there are lots of different ways to get new patients. Of course, give the PPO companies 45 to 50% of what you make. That's one way. Or the other way is, do ads, which is still very expensive. You can spend, 40, 50, $60,000 a year, depending on your budget. Or do what you did, which is dominate Google, make the phone ring through organic search engine optimization. So one of the things we do in the marketing strategy meeting, which you are very familiar with, is we spend 6 hours researching how you are doing when it comes to SEO. How many keywords are ranking? What are the reasons that you're doing well or not doing well? So typically there are 5 to 6 things Google really pays attention to. If you're getting an A+ in every one of those 6 things, you're going to rank really well. So we'll tell you, how are you doing on those 6 things? We'll literally give you a grade. And we'll also give you a plan as to, okay, if your grade right now is a D for NAP, that's one of those 6 things, then to get an A, this is what we would do over the next 12 months. Now, that's not enough. Ranking like you do for hundreds of search terms on the first page of Google, which is the top 10 results, that's not enough to make the phone ring. Then the second part is, once they see you on Google, how do we influence them so they are calling you? That's when we use Dr. Cialdini's influence principles. That's around 5 different things we do. So again, we'll look at it from those 5 things perspective and give you a ranking and a plan. So regardless of where you are starting point, where you are today, what you need to do to reduce your marketing expense from being 45 to 55% to perhaps like as low as 0.5%. But typically we see like every single practice that we work with, they don't spend more than 1.5%, which is still like 30 times difference compared to what they're currently spending with PPO plans. And we'll add a link. It's ekwa.com/MSM. It's complimentary. It's our gift to you for listening to this podcast.
Yeah, Naren, I think it's so important to have a strategy. I go into every clinical procedure with a clinical strategy. I think it's important to have a strategy for accounting, for marketing, for everything, especially in this day and age when you have to be so careful of your costs. So I think that is great. So Naren Arulrajah, I want to thank you so much for being a guest. And if you love what we do here at dentalbusinessjournal.org, tell your friends, share a review on iTunes or YouTube, and don't forget to subscribe. Until we meet again, I'm your host, Dr. Eric Block.